started out as just an average action-adventure story with a military background. The protagonist had been a Marine who had been very good at what he did, but wanted to go to college and pursue a career, so he didn't stay in. And then 20 years later, just when his life, he feels, has settled down and he's starting to feel comfortable, he doesn't have any children, but he's married, and there's money and there's a home and love and almost everything you could want. All of a sudden one day his world just gets turned totally upside down because he receives a letter in the mail that he's reactivated. I also wanted a few literary elements. For example, this is quite clearly autumn right now, and I wanted the book to take place in the course of 1 year with all the seasons. It starts in spring, moves through summer, autumn, and then winter, and those represent several things to me. There's childhood, there's childhood, that's spring, adolescence is summer, early adulthood, autumn, and old age or maturity, winter. And I also, so that's where I got my part chapters. Part 1, flood, takes place in the spring. Part 2, firmament, which means the sky, the air, summer. Part 3, forge, that's the autumn, where everything starts to dry up and there's no more water, and so things tend to go into hibernation. And of course, forge is the time when we're early adulthood, when we're where we don't have the protection of our parents anymore, and we have to make our own way in the world. And then winter, foundation, was the 4th part. And I felt that this would be the time when, the ground gets hard and, we go indoors and you need a roof over your head. And, it's a mature time in your life when you sort of lay the foundation for the rest of it. I didn't mean to say old age. No, it's not old age. Winter is, to me, it signifies solidity. Your life solidifies. What happened was I gave the book in one of its very early stages to a woman that I respect very much, and she said, well, what about the wife? And I said, well, what about her? She just stays home. She's present in the early part of the book. She returns in the later part of the book. And my friend said, well, that's not good enough. Why isn't he thinking about her more? I want to hear more about what happens to her. And so I thought, well, that's right. Them being married, in a sense, like it says in the Bible, they're one person. And so her life is also, well, it's like the rug is pulled completely out from under her. At the same time, her husband leaves to go overseas. She finds out that she's pregnant, and she's 40 years old. She has a career as a lawyer, and she's been trying to move up all these years and battling, casual sexism in the workplace, battling people taking credit for her ideas, battling glass ceiling in the position, the research position that she has. And now she gets promoted at work into a job or position that she never wanted, that isn't as rewarding as the one she had before, but comes with more money and a better office, and so she gets sucked in by the undertow. But with that upward mobility comes enemies. One of the senior partners decides to make an enemy of her. So it's very challenging, but also very enjoyable and rewarding for me to come out here and bend my mind to think, how would there be a parallel situation for him to to her having a baby, for example, or a parallel situation for her with his killing somebody with a sniper rifle or attempting to do so. You know, there's a real sense of entrapment sometimes in human life where you feel that the tide is rising and there's water all around you and there's nowhere to turn, there's no safe place to get to. And I wanted my characters, each in their own way, to feel like the walls were closing in. It was like you couldn't breathe. The tide was rising and you were anchored to the bottom. So the conclusion is really very action-packed, in the style of a Hollywood chase. But instead of one person running away from something, they're both running toward each other. They're both approaching each other, approaching a convergence. And I don't want to give away the ending.